Hi everybody and welcome to Fashionlinknow. As you know, my name is Anna Vasiljevich and I'm a founder and one of the mentors at the Fashionlinknow platform. If you're first time at this channel, welcome and be free to subscribe and follow previous videos and also the future ones. If you're back to this channel, welcome again and glad to see you. Today I will be talking about the topic of how to actually find the job in the fashion industry. One of the topics that many of my students ask me as a mentor and as a professor, so I hope these tips will be useful. Let's go. One of the first tips that I think you probably heard, but it's never enough to repeat, is to actually get the practice when it comes to being a fashion professional. I know that this topic sometimes is very challenging because you don't know actually where to start, but the more practice you gain in different fields, as like for example you decided to find a job in the fashion industry as a fashion designer, wherever you can find even a small practice when it comes to construction, when it comes to sewing, when it comes to working even in a fashion store, those are all useful experiences and practices that can help you to understand how the system of the fashion industry actually works. I know that many famous fashion schools actually have internship programs, but even for the internship programs you have to be ready to have a portfolio and to show like your skills and some kind of back experience, which is very difficult to gain during the studying. But as I said, like even working in a fashion store can be useful. On the other hand, like there are schools that are not offering this kind of practice, so you have to find something on your own. Fashion industry and fashion field is very open field and it has a lot of small positions, so I'm sure you can find some kind of practice even during the studies to try it out and to actually get into this system to better understand it. One of the advices that I give my students when they enter the school or the course is basically be present online immediately. Why I'm saying is that now you have social media, so when you start doing your projects, when you start working on your assignments as a fashion student, you will have successful or less successful projects. Those ones that you think are representative and successful, and I'm sure you will get the opinion from your mentor, start building your portfolio slowly, showing what you actually work on. In the time, you will not have to wait to end your educational process to start building this kind of thing, but at the end of your educational process you will actually be ready and you will actually have something behind you to support your idea of getting a practice or even getting a job. On the other hand, now you have social media, but besides social media you have platforms such as Upwork, LinkedIn, Indeed, some of the websites that are actually where you can build your like image, portfolio, biography or CV and start looking for the opportunities. Upwork is, for example, a freelance platform that I recommend my students, for example, for a start, to actually check out their possibility, to check out what they're good at. Maybe you will be better in doing technical skills, and some will be better in creative. You don't know that until you try, until you start building. And this is the process, it takes time. So I think, it's important to start on time. Also, when you have this built, check it regularly, update it regularly. So put like information to be up to date so that you are not like behind, but kind of like in time or in front of the time, if that's even possible. So that will be advice, be present online. Second advice or tip, I would call it big fish in small ponds. I have students who come to the course or the first year of study, and when I ask them what they want to be, they immediately tell me they want to work for the big fashion houses. I actually, as a designer, didn't have this kind of ambitions, which keep me kind of grounded. It doesn't matter that I didn't want necessarily if I get this kind of offer, but I was pretty realistic in the young age what my possibilities are, maybe because I was coming from a small country. So in that reality, I actually could find practices and jobs pretty easy in that way. But my recommendation generally for the young designers who are just finishing the school or some course is definitely starting small. Start looking for small brands, independent designers, small players, let's say, rather than the big ones. So start from small up to the big. There are bigger chances that you will find immediately this kind of practice or internship, because like independent designers, independent brands need help all the time. So there are better chances to build your portfolio by start working with the small, let's say, designers or brands that actually need help, and that will give you different kind of positions within their system to work with, rather than going for the big ones that you will have to be on the spot. You will have to be in Paris, you will have to be actually be in Milano, and competition is big, so it would be very difficult to find your dream job immediately in the big houses. Or even if you're like, for example, stylist, I want to work for Vogue. Yes, let's keep it realistic to try out to build portfolio in a proper way, or let's build like experience-wise some things before we hit the big. Another advice would definitely be, don't be afraid to ask. Actually, we as a mentors, as a professor, I love students who are not afraid to ask as much as they can. But I'm just not saying from the perspective as a professor, but also I was a young designer once upon a time, and I was one of those asking questions. I was going around, you know, going from workshop to workshop, meeting designers, and every time I had some kind of question. And with this question, I was actually growing my knowledge, growing experience, but also getting insight of the true nature of the fashion industry where I will belong. And actually, I was getting really good answers. I was getting really good advices from the people who are more experienced than me. And this was very, very useful. And I'm glad I had this kind of approach, because it helped me a lot to become who I am today. So for the young students, designers, don't be afraid to ask. Don't hesitate too much about this topic. Just get into it and ask whatever you need to ask. You never know what opportunity can come out of one of your questions. So don't be afraid to ask. Another advice that can just follow the one that I was talking about would be keep moving. Asking is one thing, but keep moving is very important. Be part of the events, be part of the fairs, be present physically, keep moving, use each experience of travel by gaining the experience and gaining the knowledge. So this is very important, to just keep moving around, to be actually present, not just in your mind, but actually be part of this fashion story that you are making. Even though I might be kind of repeating some of the stuff, but actually, I mean, this video is based on some of the things that I saw as an issue when people are trying to find a job, even though they maybe think they're doing things in the right way. I nailed my first job when I was on a third year of my studies, and then it's just continue. I mean, I was never jobless as a designer, and while I started my own fashion brand, so I'm taking some of the things from my personal experience. taking initiative sounds like something that most of you have, but initiative, I mean, is like non-stop initiative. I mean, creating page is one thing, creating portfolio is another thing. Use the platform Pinterest, Behance to show your work, but also you can make a blog. Just take more steps, like whatever chance comes to you or whatever idea comes to your mind, try it out. Just keep trying, because I mean, if you give up at the moment that you made your profile and you were not contacted in the timeline when you expecting something will happen, I mean, that's not end of the world. I mean, you will keep up, as I said, through the freelance platforms, by moving, by asking, you will find your chance. Whenever I say to my students or people who are attending my courses, like, take initiative, they're like thinking that just by, you know, entering the school, they already took initiative and that's kind of enough. So I'm taking education, but that's actually not enough. I mean, you have to have initiative. Also, one thing that I recommend is, like, don't put your expectations on a highest level immediately. I mean, you are showing world your knowledge, but your knowledge is not connected only to making a fashion collection. I'm sure beside talent and creativity, you have some other expertise, whether it's a technical drawing, whether it's a sewing, whether it's a construction of the clothes. I mean, show wider perspective of what you can do to easier grab the chances. So, I mean, even the organizational skills can be, you know, like, important thing to get your first job. So don't push yourself just immediately, oh, I want to work specifically as a fashion designer and nothing else, because maybe that will not work out immediately, but show initiative and showing by showing your other skills too, and showing them off to the world what you can do, and then I'm sure you will find your perfect opportunity for the first job, let's say, and then just the path will go on the way where you want it to go. Yes, so take initiative. I hope this video about few tips how to get your job in a fashion industry were useful. If you have any comments or questions, be free to write below. I'm open to hear your opinion or ask me whatever you want to ask me. I hope to see you soon in some of my next videos. See you soon. Bye.